There is not one, like, nobody looked to give the ball back to Paige. Nobody looked to give the ball back to Paige at all. For me saying I said triple-double, I said no, the broadcast lied and said she had 7 assists and it looked like she had a near triple-double. Paige it's going to be I think it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very, very hard for Paige Bueckers to win Rookie of the Year.
You know that feeling when everyone around you is nodding along to something that just doesn't feel right? When the obvious answer feels anything but obvious once you actually pay attention? That's exactly what thousands of basketball fans are experiencing right now with the 2025 WNBA Rookie of the Year race, and it's creating the most intense grassroots pushback I've ever seen in women's sports. On paper, this should be simple. Paige Bueckers, the #1 pick versus everyone else. But when you actually listen to what people are saying after watching these games, not the highlight reels, not the stat sheets, but the actual games, a very different picture emerges, and it's making thousands of basketball fans question whether they're being told the whole truth about who's really having the better rookie season.
We're doing our WNBA predictions. Rookie of the Year, I got Paige Bueckers. I used to always look at her name. I thought it was Bueckers until she came back from the knee injury. Then everybody was calling her Paige Bueckers. I think they finally got it right. Guard, Dallas Wings, playing really good basketball.
The disconnect between what fans are seeing with their own eyes and what they're being told by the media has created something I've never witnessed before, a grassroots movement of people demanding that someone pay attention to what's actually happening on the court. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this rookie debate has become about so much more than just basketball. It's become about whether fan voices matter at all. When fans talk about this rookie race online, the first thing you notice is how different their observations are from what you'd expect. Sure, Paige Bueckers was the #1 pick and she's averaging 18.5 points per game, but people who are actually watching these games are telling a very different story.
Tell me this because I think a little birdie said online that you may be in the 3-point shooting contest. Can we get a confirmation here on Between the Lines? Are you shooting the 3 ball for the competition?
I think we can get a confirmation. Yes, I am.
That's going to be fun. I can't wait.
The most common thing you'll see in comment sections is this: Paige gets every call. Fans are pointing out that she seems to get to the free throw line way more than other rookies, even though she's not driving to the basket as aggressively as you'd expect. One person put it perfectly: she's the only player I've ever seen chest bump a ref and not get a call. But it goes deeper than just officiating. People are noticing that when games get tight, when it really matters, Sonia Citron is the one making the big plays. Fans keep bringing up specific moments, like when she hit that clutch 3-pointer to beat Dallas in overtime, or how she's consistently scoring in crunch time while other rookies disappear. The numbers actually back this up.
Man, yesterday's game was a tale of 2 different types of players. It is a tale of the most talented guard the league has ever seen.
Sonia leads all rookies with 41 clutch points, which ranks 4th in the entire league. And here's something that keeps coming up that really bothers people: the durability factor. Paige has played 25 games while Sonia has played all 31 games this season. Fans are asking how someone who's missed 6 more games can be the runaway favorite when her main competition has been available every single night. One comment that stuck with me said, if Cece or Angel had missed this many games last year, that would be ammo against them. It's a fair point that makes people question whether the same standards apply to everyone. The eye test is telling fans one story, but the media narrative seems to be telling another. And that disconnect is creating a lot of frustration among people who feel like they're not being heard. When you actually listen to what fans are observing during games...
No, honestly, I think Paige is still my front runner. The floor is just so high. And this is one of those really remarkable rookie situations where I'm like, yo, it's a disaster.
Some interesting patterns emerge. People consistently point out that Sonia Citron looks more comfortable and composed in pressure situations. They're not just talking about stats here, they're talking about body language, decision making, and how players respond when games are on the line. Multiple fans have noted that when Dallas and Washington play each other, Sonia seems to rise to the occasion while Paige sometimes struggles with the defensive attention. Head-to-head, Sonia has outplayed Paige is something you see over and over again in discussions, and the results support what fans are seeing. In their 2 matchups this season, Washington won both games 91-78 and 91-88 in overtime, with Sonia having some of her best performances in those moments.
Constantly getting hacked by your defender playing physical. How do you stay within your game, and what adjustments do you make? This is something that I'm actually not struggling with, but learning. A physical defender is actually easier to beat sometimes. You have to use their physical against them, so I'm kind of learning how to do that.
People are also noticing something about team impact that goes beyond individual stats. Fans watching Washington games talk about how Sonia makes everyone around her better, how she finds the right spots on offense, and how she doesn't force things when they're not there. The team records reflect this. Washington has 14 wins compared to Dallas's 8 wins. Meanwhile, Dallas fans are often frustrated because they feel like Paige is trying to do too much, that she's pressing when games get tight instead of trusting her teammates. There's this observation that keeps coming up about efficiency versus volume.
I say that Paige Bueckers is the most talented guard the league has ever seen. Because I'm not going to say some shot chuckers. There have been shot chuckers that have put up these points. But like, in terms of pure ability, the ability to go left, the ability to go right, the ability to get to the basket, the ability to shoot the 3-ball, all of those stuff, the ability to guard.
While Paige averages more points at 18.5 per game compared to Sonia's 14.2, fans are saying that Sonia's numbers feel more meaningful because they're contributing to wins. One comment that really captured this said, "No empty calories with Sonia." People are seeing her impact on winning basketball, not just on the stat sheet. The shooting percentages tell the same story. Sonia's shooting 47% from the field and 38% from 3, while Paige is at lower percentages despite taking more shots. And then there's the whistle. This is probably the most controversial thing fans are discussing, but it's impossible to ignore how many people are bringing it up.
It's one thing for, you to go to a team that isn't good or has clear deficiencies and isn't a complete product. I think you could argue Sonia and Kiki were that. I think you could argue Caitlin was that. I think you could argue Aaliyah Boston.
Viewers are saying they notice different standards in how fouls are called for different players. They're not necessarily saying it's intentional, but they're definitely saying it's noticeable and it affects how games play out. If you're finding this perspective interesting, make sure to hit that like button because we're about to get into the bigger patterns people are identifying. Here's where the online conversation gets really revealing about what fans think they're witnessing. People aren't just comparing individual performances anymore. They're looking at patterns in how this award race is being framed compared to previous years, and they're not liking what they see. The biggest thing fans keep bringing up is the consistency issue. Last year, when Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark were competing for Rookie of the Year, team success was constantly mentioned as a factor. Fans remember hearing that Angel's Chicago Sky having a better record should matter in the voting. But this year, when Sonia's Washington team has 14 wins compared to Dallas's 8 wins, that's a significant difference in a 40-game season. That same argument isn't being made as strongly by media members. People are asking, did the criteria change or are different standards being applied to different players? It's a legitimate question that's making fans feel like the game is rigged in favor of certain narratives. Another pattern fans are noticing is in the coverage itself. They're pointing out that Sonia Citron has to have an absolutely spectacular game to get the same attention that Paige gets for a good game. Both players made the All-Star team, but Paige was named a starter while Sonia came off the bench, despite Sonia's better team record and perfect attendance. Say Her Name has become a rallying cry among fans who feel like solid, consistent performance is being overlooked in favor of flashier, less efficient play. People are also talking about load management and how it's being treated differently. The fact that Paige has missed 6 more games than Sonia, whether for injury or rest, doesn't seem to hurt her award chances the way fans think it should.
In terms of pure talent, nobody's close to Paige Bueckers. Well, there are people close to Paige Bueckers, but nobody is quite on Paige Bueckers' level when it comes to talent. And then you have got a player who doesn't have the talent, near the talent in Sonia Citron, but makes the most of everything.
They're asking why availability and durability don't seem to matter as much as they should, especially in a league where every game counts and the season is only 40 games long. But perhaps the most telling observation from fans is about the narrative momentum. People are saying it feels like the decision was made before the season even started, and that everything else is just going through the motions. Comments like, "The race was over before it began," show how many fans feel like they're watching a predetermined outcome rather than a legitimate competition. This isn't just about basketball anymore. Fans are talking about credibility, fairness, and whether their voices and observations matter in how these awards are decided. The frustration you see online isn't really about any individual player, it's about feeling like the system isn't being applied consistently. After reading through thousands of comments and fan observations, what becomes clear is that this isn't really about Paige Bueckers versus Sonia Citron. Both players are having excellent rookie seasons and both deserve recognition. What this is really about is trust. Whether fans trust that what they're seeing with their own eyes matches up with how awards are being decided. The fans making these observations aren't casual viewers. These are people who are watching games regularly, who understand basketball, and who are noticing patterns that concern them. When they say Sonia is more clutch, more efficient, and playing better team basketball, they're basing that on what they're actually watching, not what they're being told. The durability argument is particularly compelling when you hear it from fans. 25 games versus 31 games isn't a small difference. In a 40-game season, missing 6 additional games means you're not available for 15% of your team's games. Fans are rightfully asking why that doesn't seem to matter as much as it should. But here's what might be the most important takeaway from all these fan observations. People want to feel like their eyes don't lie. When they watch Sonia hit clutch shots, play efficient basketball, and help her team win more games, they want that to be valued appropriately. When they see inconsistent officiating or feel like different standards are being applied, they want that to be acknowledged. The basketball community is having this debate because they care. They care about fairness, they care about consistency, and they care about the integrity of the awards process. Whether you agree with their observations or not, the fact that so many people are raising similar concerns suggests there's something worth examining. Maybe Paige Bueckers will win Rookie of the Year and maybe her individual numbers justify that, but the fans who are watching these games closely and seeing something different deserve to have their voices heard too, because at the end of the day, basketball is about what happens on the court, and the people watching are telling us that what they're seeing doesn't always match the narrative they're being given. The 2025 Rookie of the Year race has shown us that stats only tell part of the story. The other part, the clutch plays, the team impact, the consistency, the availability, that's what fans are seeing when they actually watch these games. And their observations suggest that maybe this race is closer than the betting odds would have us believe. What do you think? Are these fan observations legitimate, or are people seeing what they want to see? Drop your thoughts in the comments, but let's keep it focused on what we're actually watching on the court. And if you want to see more analysis of what fans are really saying about basketball, make sure to subscribe, because I'll be diving into more topics where the fan perspective might be different from the official narrative.